Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today I wanted to continue a series of guides as to how to kill the 4 Conquerors of the Atlas. So not Cirrus, the main boss of the Conquerors of the Atlas expansion, but the 4 precursor bosses. I've already done Alhesman and the other 2 are coming later. Today though, it's Veritania. Veritania is cold aligned. So anything that you can do to increase your cold resistance beyond the normal 75% will be a good thing. I'm going in there with just the 75%, but if you can go in with 78 or more, that will help you. Additionally, Veritania likes to chill and freeze a lot. It is possible to beat her without being hit by any of the attacks that chill and freeze, but in the event that you make a mistake, it is good to have access to some sort of resilience against freeze. And so you'll see here that I'm using an Enduring Divine Mana Flask of Heat. That provides me with, it's not the ideal flask, but it will do the job. It provides me with a lot of time where she can't chill. You fight her on top of a tower, and there are constricting winds that that sort of can get smaller and smaller. You're fighting inside a cyclone, and the cyclone contracts as the fight progresses. Additionally, she has a number of attacks that have verbal cues. So I'll go through these as they come up. At the start, she has access to her main attack, which is actually a spell cast. It looks like it's sort of a projectile attack, and it's very, very dangerous. Because of the arc that it hits about a 120-degree arc in front of her, and it hits all the places that are about the same distance from her. Sometimes she'll do a close one, sometimes she'll do a medium range, sometimes she'll do longer. Your goal to avoid this is to constantly be changing the distance between you and her. Alternately, you can rapidly circle her. Either of these will make it so that that attack is unable to hit. Additionally, she will call out sometimes various verbal cues. 2 of them will cause her to spawn a whole bunch of tornadoes at her feet. These tornadoes will expand outwards and move towards to join up with the main tornado that you're fighting inside the eye of the storm of. If this happens, you want to use a teleport move skill to get away, then let the tornadoes pass a little bit of distance, and then use a teleport move skill to get back in the middle of them. At that point, you can safely re-engage Veritania. As her health drops, she will learn 2 new moves. There is the Loathsome or the Wrath Beam, which is the most dangerous of all of her moves. When she screams Loathsome or Wrath, she will basically turn on a machine gun turret that will track you. When this happens, you need to start constantly changing. You need to firstly stop anything you're doing in terms of damaging her and start changing your direction with respect to her. So circle her tightly is my recommendation there. She will also scream repugnant at various times, and when she does that, you want to get yourself into a position so that you are not in front of Veritania from her perspective, so her facing. And then she's going to, you'll have to see that one. It's hard to explain what it is, but she'll basically move forward in a straight line. Everywhere that she touches will go to chilled ground. One thing I will add, this is dizzying when you're climbing up these stairs at the moment. Additionally, I'll just add that this is a very unforgiving fight. Mistakes get punished, and she hits hard. The fight's technically quite easy, but it's very plausible that I could get myself taken out the back and shot. Lastly, if you use gems in normal mapping that are related to damage projection rather than damage dealing, as you can see here, I'm using Awakened Fork support as a way of causing my fireballs to hit multiple targets. I have swapped that out for Swift Affliction, which causes me to deal a lot more damage to Veritania. So that's something to keep in mind. So here we are, we're going to just stand here. And that's her default attack. You see how she's firing that projectiles in a 120-degree arc around herself? Additionally, there's her scream of away with you. That's one of the voice commands for tornadoes. It's the rarer one. Notice also that she has energy shield, and quite a lot of it. You want to be constantly doing some damage to her. It doesn't need to be a lot. These are her default attacks. And be judged is the main cry there that she uses for that attack. My mouse is playing up at the moment, so that's why I'm walking out into that outer storm. But it's useful to see. It's not that damaging if you just touch the edge of it, but if you stay in it for long, it will hurt you badly. Vile is the cry for her turret. That's deadly. You need to get the hell away from that. It will kill you. It will the first hit will freeze you. And there's her revolting scream. Normally she cries repugnant for that. That's the straightforward attack, and then she goes up overhead and slams down. The area she's going to slam is marked out clearly on the ground. Distasteful is the tornado storm again. And that's her Vile. She didn't actually telegraph that by voice then, which is unusual and very dangerous. Repugnant. Now she's going to mark a spot on the ground. That's where she's going to slam. You can safely do things to the ground there to get some damage preloaded when she does that. That's a chance to have a bit of a rest. Be judged again. And that's her Vile. Again, that didn't have a verbal cue to it. It came up in... Sloth is the other cry for that. There's a bunch of different ones. Repugnant, revolting, and sloth mean that she's going up the top. Be judged is this. Notice that the outer tornado is getting tighter and tighter. That's her Wrath. That's not a time thing, that tornado. It's based upon Veritania's health. So the more damage she takes, the less space you have left to fight her in. Distasteful is the tornadoes. Flame Dash is very helpful. As you can see, she's regenerating energy shield at the moment. Ideally, you don't want to ever regaining... Yes, and there's a... Okay, that wasn't screamed out. That was a Vile, and that is actually buggy. That should not be done silently. Useful to see that. I'm not playing a tanky character, which is quite deliberate. It's easier to see this when you actually see how much damage she can do. This is a tier 16 map, by the way. You can fight her in all different tiers. 16's as high as you'll encounter her, though. Oh, yeah, I think it is as high as she can be. You'll see there that I took a lot of damage because I misjudged that attack of hers there. And there she goes. The fight's not particularly difficult, but it is unforgiving, as per the death that you saw there. Essentially, her default attack will almost kill you, and will often chill you and put you out of position so that you get killed by the next one. Her Wrath/Vile turret machine gun type attack is absolutely deadly. I don't think you can really tank that on pretty much any character build. Maybe a Juggernaut with that's stacking excess cold resistance could do it. But in general purposes, for general purpose mapping characters, it's going to kill you. The slam that she does when she comes down from the sky will one-shot most characters. It actually does less damage than it looks like it would do. I think it might do 6,000 or 7,000 unmitigated. So that's going to kill a character like the one that I'm playing at the moment, this Trickster that doesn't have any powerful defensive layers. But you can easily build a character to survive it. You don't really want to do so. The last thing that didn't really come up in this is that when she does the repugnant or revolting move where she leaves that chilled ground on, she leaves that ground behind her, that ground will freeze you. And that is very dangerous. So it is important to get the hell out of that. As soon as you hear her make the verbal cue, you want to be consciously aware of which direction she's facing, where she's going to hit, and use a teleport move skill to avoid that, and make sure that you don't cross that ground while it's still there. It is better to spend a bit of time out in the outside storm, taking the cold damage over time that you take there, than it is to walk in that. Sorry, than to get frozen. Because if you get frozen, you'll get slammed. If you got any comments or questions, fire away below. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a good one.